Hi YouTube. I'm doing a quick video here to show a little bit about how we make our salves and our herbal oils. And today I'm doing a little bit of everything, so I thought I just would do a video. And I am making a bunch of herbal salves, and I'm doing a double boiler method for one, and I'm gonna do the regular herbal oil for the others. And an herbal oil is simply an herb soaked in any kind of oil. Olive oil, if it's medicinal. It could be almond oil, apricot oil, jojoba oil, grapeseed oil, or even any kind of vegetable oil would work if it's just something you're putting on your skin. But if you're doing it for medicinal purposes, olive oil works really well, and of course can be really cheap. So I'm making my oils in small batches, as you can see. I've got arnica in olive oil, and I've got my date marked. And I was thinking about what size I would do these in, but since I don't need an absolute ton of these herbal oils sitting around, I thought I'd do them in smaller quantities. I was able to do that by going to Hobby Lobby, and they have a 50% off sale on most of their stuff most of the time. So I found these jars for $1.49 at Hobby Lobby, and I brought them home and sterilized them and then labeled them and then put the herbs in. And all I need to do now is put in my oil, and I'm also going to add a little bit of vitamin E oil to all these because these are all going to be salves I'll be putting on skin. So I've got arnica, St. John's wort, mugwort, yarrow, comfrey, and calendula. And these are some of the bottles that I got at Hobby Lobby. Everything here was 50% off. Got a measuring cup, a glass one. This actually is just a saffron jar from Trader Joe's that I'm repurposing. And then this was picked up at Whole Foods. But I got these jars here, and these are going to be great for herbal teas for gifts. And then I got some neat decorative bottles here. Everything here has been washed and sterilized. I'll probably be putting herbal wines in these, or maybe some medicines that don't need to be in the darker bottles. So, and here on the stove, I have got an example of the double boiler method for infusing oil. If you don't have 6 weeks to wait, you can use this method. You can use any kind of double boiler. I'm actually just using my small cake pan and a glass measuring cup. And I've measured out 3/4 of a cup of olive oil. And I've got mugwort, a little bit of yarrow, calendula, arnica, and comfrey. And after this oil is made and strained, I'm also going to be stirring in a little bit of honey and myrrh resin, powdered myrrh resin. So some other herbal action over here are some of my tinctures. I've got a burdock root tincture. I've got a rosemary tincture, an usnea tincture. Usnea is really good for the lungs and respiratory system, and a fresh basil tincture. So these are just some of the herbs that we've got going on here. Here's the herb cabinet, all sorts of herbs. So here I thought I would just show you how quick and simple it really is to do these oils. So if you give me just a second here, I'll put my camera down. Here we go. Now I'm just using some olive oil that I got at the store today. This happens to be a very clear olive oil, but it doesn't need to be. It can be any kind of olive oil you want. I went with this clear one because it was on sale and it has less of an odor to it. And I'm going to be pouring these to where the olive oil comes up a couple of inches above the herb once the herb is settled. And it's that simple to make an herbal infused oil. So here's one bottle. Open up my second. I'm going to let these settle, and then I might be topping them off. I guess it's a little loud in my kitchen today. But it's important to let the herbs settle down. And in oil, that's going to take maybe 5-10 minutes. And if I don't have enough olive oil to finish this off from these bottles, I'll just use what I've got for cooking, which is a darker, more heavily scented olive oil. And I went with olive oil simply because it's cheap. So it doesn't have to be expensive. If you can do it in almond oil and jojoba oil, then that's great. But there's jojoba oil's shelf life is actually a lot longer than any of these other oils, but these oils, if kept in a nice dark place, should keep for 1 to 2 years. Just check on the rancidity of the oil. And I've got all these containers in a Pyrex dish here. In case I spilled any olive oil, it would just be in the dish. And now I'm going to take my vitamin E oil and add some vitamin E oil to these oils. And when my salve has cooled down, when the oils are cooled down and I've got the beeswax incorporated, that's when I'll add the vitamin E oil to the oils that are on the stove. I'll let the oils cool down first. And there we go. And tinctures are just as quick. You just put about as much herb into the container and then top it off with the strongest proof vodka or other alcohol that you can find. Vodka's good and tasteless. So is Everclear. Everclear works really well too. The higher the proof, the greater the ability for the alcohol to pull out all of the medical constituents from the herb, so the more potent and stronger it'll be. One way to make these more potent is after a few weeks, strain them off really well, put the oil back in with more herb, more of the fresh dried herb. And that will double the potency. You can do that up to, I think I've done it up to 3 times. I mean, if I'm going to get much more potent than that, I might as well just be working with a tincture. But these will be nice to put on skin with just a little bit of beeswax added to the oil to thicken it up. And it'll be great as a salve. And the different combinations of these will make different salves. And then adding the fresh or the ground powdered myrrh will also be good for the skin. Myrrh's also really good for your mouth too. So I'm going to be making a myrrh tincture as well a little bit later. But I thought I would show you a little bit about the process here. You can see how everything's settled down and now I've got room to come back up. I'll give it a few more minutes and let it kind of set. You want the oil above the herb so that it reduces the risk of the oils getting moldy. But since I'm working with a dried herb and not a fresh herb, my chances of these getting moldy aren't very good because there's no water. These have all been dried in the oven, so all the water is completely evaporated. There's no water on the containers and there's no water left in the herb. So these shouldn't be getting moldy at all. And like I said, these will last for a good couple of years. So I've never had one go rancid before I've used it. I'll just put it that way. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and have a great day.